Hi everyone, welcome to our first video on our channel. We are EME Crochets, a group of 3 students who want to teach others how to learn the basics of crocheting. Before we begin, let's go over what materials you'll need for this project. You'll need a crochet hook, preferably size 5.0 millimeters or what the paper instruction of yarn suggests, and a skein of yarn in the color of your choice. Also, make sure that you have a pair of scissors and a yarn needle handy for finishing touches. Now, let's start by creating a slip knot. To do this, take the end of your yarn and form a loop around your 2 fingers. Then, bring the end connected to the skein of yarn through the loop, creating a slip knot. Tighten it slightly and insert your hook through the loop to tighten it further. Now that we have our slip knot, let's move to the foundation chain. The foundation chain serves as the base for your crochet project. To create the foundation chain, yarn over by wrapping the yarn around your hook from the back to the front, from the left to the side of your hook. Then, using the hook, pull the yarn through the slip knot loop. This creates your first chain stitch. Continue this process by pulling the yarn over the hook, then pulling the yarn through the loop, creating one chain stitch at a time. Do it so the tension comes from moving the hook towards you, and allow the curved end of the hook to pull the yarn through while holding the yarn in place with the other hand. Keep going until you have the desired number of stitches for your project. For a simple square patch, I recommend starting with around 18 stitches. Do not include the slip knot in your count. Now that our foundation chain is ready, it's time to start working on the first row. We'll be using a basic stitch called the single stitch crochet. Crochet 2 extra chains and insert your hook into the second chain stitch. This will allow the project to turn without much tension or pulling on the shape. Pull the yarn over the hook and pull it through the loop so that you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both loops of the hook. That's 1 single crochet stitch. Again, we insert the hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over again, and pull through both loops. Hook through the chain, yarn over, and pull through 1 loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Continue working single crochet stitches into each chain stitch across the row. Once you reach the end of the row, chain 1 to create the turning chain. This allows you to turn your work and start the next row, to prevent any curves into the project and keep your edges straight. Now, we'll repeat the single crochet stitch in each stitch across the row, just like we did in the previous row. We'll have to insert our hook through both sides of the pattern that looks like an arrowhead, under the top of the 2 loops to create a consistent pattern and build up the height of your project. Next, we'll demonstrate how to double stitch. Just like in the beginning, we'll have to begin with our slip knot and foundation chain with the length of your choice, the 2 extra chains, then turn to begin the double stitch. We're going to pull the yarn over and then insert it into the top of the second chain, different from when we made our single stitch. We'll then pull our yarn over again and pull the yarn back through the chain stitch. You should have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over once more and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops of your hook. You should now have 2 loops remaining. Yarn over one final time and pull the yarn through the last loops of your hook. Now you have completed your first double crochet stitch. To continue, yarn over and insert your hook into the next chain stitch. Then pull the yarn over and pull through the chain. Again, you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over again and pull through the final 2 loops of the hook. We're going to have to continue down the stitch, and remember, always yarn over before inserting your hook into the next stitch. Repeat these steps for each stitch across the row until you reach the end. When you reach the end of the row, turn your work by chaining 2 stitches. This turning chain will count as the first double crochet stitch of the next row. When we continue down this chain, make sure to insert your hook into the top 2 loops of the chain. And that's it! Now you have learned how to double crochet stitch. Practice it a few times to get comfortable with this technique, and you'll be able to create various crochet projects using this stitch. Next, we'll create our half double crochet stitch. We'll create our slip knot and foundation chain again with your desired length. Make sure to add the 2 chains to allow for a turn in your chain. Then we'll yarn over by bringing the yarn from the back to the front over the hook and then insert it into the second chain from your hook. You should now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull the yarn through the chain stitch, still having 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over once more and then pull the yarn through the 3 loops of your hook. This completes your first half double crochet stitch. To continue, yarn over and insert your hook into the next chain stitch. Yarn over again and pull back through the chain loop. Yarn over and pull through all the loops. When you reach the end of the row, turn your work by chaining 2 stitches. This turning chain will count as the first half of the double crochet stitch in the next row. Repeat the process as we did for the first row, inserting the hook into the top loops of the chain, and you'll have completed the process of learning how to half double crochet stitch. To finish your project, cut off a reasonable length away from the project. I would suggest cutting a bit more than you need rather than cutting it shorter because it can be adjusted by another cut once you have tied the knot. Then, tie a knot and cut the length as desired, but leave a little tail so that it can be weaved into the project by using a yarn needle or your crochet hook to pass it through the project. You can practice these stitches to become comfortable with the technique, and you'll be able to incorporate it into your crochet repertoire. Remember, practice makes perfect, so keep working on your skills and trying out new projects. Thank you all for watching, and we hope you've learned something new for today.